On August 1st, 1965, a dramatic, large-scale UFO incursion took place at F.E. Warren Air Force Base in Wyoming, as this declassified report confirms. Dozens of sightings of disc-shaped craft cavorting at low altitude over Minuteman missile silos, known as launch facilities, were reported by the Air Force security personnel guarding them. Former launch officer Jay Earnshaw has discussed his involvement in one such incident that night.
I was in command of Capsule Echo 1 at Warren Air Force Base. Got a call about 3:30 in the morning, somewhere that time, from the flight security controller above, who said that, "Sir, there's some strange objects out there." I says, "What do you mean?" And turns out that he had observed, along with the rest of his response team members, what looked like 5 to 6 oblong lights stacked on top of one another, just outside the gate at Echo 1. They didn't seem to cause any particular damage. They didn't seem to put out any beams of light or anything else like that. They simply were there, stacked up. It was rather a benign incident at the time. The paperwork all disappeared.
Over the next 2 years, similar UFO incursions also took place at Minot Air Force Base, North Dakota, and Ellsworth Air Force Base, South Dakota. Although those disturbing incidents were reported in official records at the time and occasionally leaked to the media, many of the details only emerged decades later in the testimony of former missile launch officers.
I was on duty at Echo, which is our squadron command post. We had strike teams respond to alarms from the missiles. They were 3 to 5 miles away. And they jumped in their trucks and went roaring out there and called me back and said, "Sir, for lack of a better description, there's a flying saucer hovering over that missile, and there's a beam of reddish light going down to it." I assume they were taking data with that beam. It wasn't destructive as far as I know. It had to be a data collection thing. I'm sure they scanned the warhead or something or other.
Although the Air Force could not yet know it, the most dramatic nuclear weapons-related UFO incidents were about to occur.
During the pre-departure crew briefing, it was mentioned that some missiles at November flight had gone off alert. We reached the launch control facility. We entered the gate after giving the appropriate password, and the above-ground personnel briefed us on what had happened. And essentially, we were told by site manager that an object had been sighted out the windows with flashing lights, and it was probably about 80 to 100 feet in diameter. It then went to our main gate where it hovered, and when we debriefed the underground launch crew, they indicated that all the missiles that they controlled had gone off alert at the time that object had been hovering next to the main gate. My crew commander, Major Tollerud, told me that he had received a call overnight, evidently while I was on rest break below ground, and saying that we as a crew were never to speak about this again. This was a very serious incident. I mean, something to take our nuclear-tipped missiles off alert. It was something that we had never been prepared for.
The same year that these amazing events were unfolding in secrecy, Secretary of the Air Force Harold Brown appeared before a congressional hearing and dismissed the idea that information about UFOs was being kept from the American public.
We have not been hiding anything. The investigations have been made public. The explanations of those where there is a clear explanation have been made public. The hearing this morning was public for just that reason.
Brown's claims have now been discredited, but the strict security measures imposed on military witnesses at the time meant that decades would pass before the public learned the facts about UFO activity at nuclear missile sites. In any case, the next known incident, at Malmstrom Air Force Base, Montana in March 1967, left no doubt that those aboard the UFOs were intent on disrupting the functionality of American ICBMs in their underground silos.